attack, burning brighter than the sun, apparently. Our theme song from last year, Enter Sandman, is what we had, but not quite the same. We don't have it on our computer yet, but we're trying to look for a new opening song. I don't know if it's going to be fun, but get the pun there.
Yeah.
Fun was the band. Yes. Okay. All right. So we're coming to you live here in the studio. I'm Iain Dexter alongside Gunther Bird. Kellen could not make it tonight. Kind of interesting because last week Gunther said he wasn't going to be here and Kellen was, and then it kind of flip-flopped today.
Right.
Kellen had something he had to do for school, so Gunther ended up not going home, so he's here in the studio with us. So I'm glad I have a partner tonight. We're even going to have a special guest on the show, and a mystery guest a little bit later. I'm not going to reveal that quite yet. So everyone's going to have to wait and see. But let's get it started with Western Oregon athletics. Soccer and volleyball, of course, they play on Thursdays, so they both just played yesterday. And soccer, I was at that game as well. They had quite an exciting match with Western Washington. And actually, both teams played Western Washington, who happens to be a great team in pretty much all the sports that they play in. I heard since they removed football, maybe I don't know exactly how long ago, but they've been great in all their other sports since they won the national championship for men's basketball like 2 years after they got rid of football.
Wow.
Yeah, and a lot of money goes into football.
Yeah,
so that's why.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they got rid of that. So now they're really good in soccer. They're great in volleyball. Both basketball teams. So they do well for themselves, and they're one of the top-ranked teams this year in soccer. Western Oregon actually beat Western Washington last year at home, and this time they got them again. Didn't beat them, but they ended up in a 1-1 tie after double overtime. So that game finished 1-1. Really exciting, though, because Western Oregon, I can't just say Western, WOU, they were losing most of the game. They were trailing, gave up the goal in the first half, and then really just battled all the way through the game. And we're got a great play at the very end, like within the last 5 minutes of the game, tied it up. And Amanda Rose Johnson, the goalie, who's been spectacular all season, she had another really good game. She had 7 saves, just allowed the 1 goal in 110 minutes. And there were a lot of chances, I felt like, for Western Washington where they were in front of the net trying to get a loose ball and weren't able to put it in. But Amanda Rose Johnson, she had to make some really good saves late in that game. Trying to think who the goal was by. Allison Sprecher for Western Oregon. I think it was her first goal of the season as well. So good for her. Big time to get that. Let's move on to volleyball. And, we've talked about volleyball every week, hoping they're going to get that first win.
It's a rough season.
It's been a rough season, and the rough season has continued. It was a packed house last night, though, in the new PE. A lot of students came out. A lot of other teams came out to support them. But again, they dropped their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It just keeps climbing. Their 8th straight match and 3rd straight where they've gotten swept. This time coming at home against number 10 ranked Western Washington University in Division II volleyball. So they're definitely a good team. And I thought Western Oregon played well. They played valiantly. But the Western Washington team was just really good. They didn't make a lot of mistakes. And so they lost 14-25 in the first and second set and 18-25 in the final 3rd set. So they dropped their season record to 2-14 and 0-8 in the conference. So that's that 8-game losing streak has been in conference. But they get another chance this Saturday and the Wear Pink Day. Forgot to mention that in support of cancer awareness. They'll be taking on Simon Fraser University at 7 p.m. And soccer is also playing, and I believe they have Simon Fraser as well.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, thank you. So they will both be here at home on Wear Pink Day, and football will also be at home at 1 p.m. So soccer at 11 p.m., football 1 p.m. Did I say 11 p.m.? I meant 11 a.m. for soccer, and then 7 p.m. for volleyball. Football has Dixie State University. We already mentioned the loss against a big-time school, University of North Alabama, 30-10, but they'll get a chance here. It feels like the very first home game of the year because all the students are back, and I think it'll be nice for the team to get a full crowd. So 1 p.m. kickoff here at MacArthur Field, and it's going to be a good game. I think Western Oregon this is a team they've been able to beat in the past. I think they'll continue that, especially at home. I haven't heard anything about Ryan Bergman's status. Do you know anything about that?
No, I haven't been updated on that as well.
Yeah, Gunther's got inside knowledge. He's got
got my sources.
Yep, he's got his sources. We won't reveal those, but yep. So hopefully Bergman will be playing. That would be a big boost for the team, I think. He's a senior now, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
So they need one of their leaders on offense.
Yeah,
definitely. Okay, so let's move it on. Let's move it on to a new segment we came up with. Well, it's been used on other shows, but something we decided to implement on Tuesday, and it seemed to go really well for us. Buy or sell. So first, buy or sell topic for Gunther. We don't have multiple people in here tonight.
Solo.
Yeah, just solo, and I'll give my opinion as well, but this is mostly for you, Gunther. Buy or sell, Andrew Luck. Okay, he had a great game last night. He's been playing well this season. He's had some struggles. He's thrown a lot of interceptions, but leading the league in yards, touchdowns for quarterbacks. Do you see him? Do you buy or sell him as the future number one quarterback in the NFL?
I would buy that.
Mm-hmm.
It will take some time, especially when you got guys ahead of you like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, definitely. Aaron Rodgers. He's developing quick. He got put into a system he could work with, and he's got that offense rolling. It seems week in and week out. They got a great record. They pulled out a great win last night.
Yep.
I just think it's a matter of time before he's considered elite.
Mm-hmm. And he's getting there. He's definitely getting there. He makes some mistakes. I think he has probably 7 interceptions now. He threw 1 last night on Thursday Night Football when they took on the Houston Texans. We might get into that a little bit more, but later on in the show, he finished 25 of 44, I think, for 370 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that 1 interception. So he had a pretty good game. Maybe I exaggerate a little bit in saying he had a great game, but 3 touchdowns, 370 yards. He throws the ball a lot. They definitely utilize their passing game.
Yeah, they got great receivers, great targets to throw to.
Yeah, and here's this is why I brought this up, because earlier today, NFL media reporter Charles Casserly, he said that he's been around the league since 1977. He said Andrew Luck is the best young quarterback I have ever seen.
You could argue that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he's not better than the guys who have been around right now, but coming out, he says he's better than what Peyton Manning looked like or any of the other young quarterbacks when they first, his 3rd year in the league only.
Yeah, I would say it's Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good.
Yeah, they're both very good. And that's what I wish we had Kellen here. I was really thinking of him on this. I figured he would give kind of the sell perspective because he would probably take Russell Wilson.
Right.
Which isn't a bad choice either. I think Andrew Luck's got a better all-around game once he matures more and really comes into his own a little bit more.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's definitely got some work to do, but I think all-around player, he'll be better because I think he's going to be smarter. He's got a really good brain.
Yeah.
And I think he has the better arm. Wilson's got the legs, but Andrew Luck's got legs too. I mean, he can run.
They both got all the aspects you'd want in a quarterback.
Definitely. Yeah, and that's not saying anything bad about Russell Wilson.
Right.
Just think Andrew Luck, there's not many Andrew Lucks that come out. Doesn't happen very often. It's no wonder he was the number 1 pick just a couple years ago. So, yeah, he leads the league. I mean, leading the league in yards, like I always say, he throws the ball like a billion times every game.
Yeah.
44 times. That's probably close to his average in every game. So, but yeah, he's got the most touchdowns. He needs to work on the interceptions, though. Sometimes I feel like it's a little like Brett Favre mentality.
Yeah. I mean, he's still winning games, so
that's the most important stat.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah. Okay. Our short buy or sell segment will end after this next one. This is something that I've been thinking about, and it's been brought up. I'd like to hear your perspective on it. Is for NHL fights.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, something that everyone knows about.
Right.
Are you buying or selling NHL fights that they should keep it? Or, so are you buying or selling that?
If they should keep it?
Yeah.
I would, I'd buy it. I think it's just, it brings another aspect of the game. It's been around for as long as I can remember. Recently on SportsCenter, they were talking about how years ago it was like 1,500 fights a year, and last year they only had 900, so it is decreasing. I just don't see it being eliminated completely.
Yeah, you bring up a good statistic there. I didn't know the exact numbers, but I definitely knew it has been decreasing over the last few years because a lot of players ending up with concussions. So it's something that I think a lot of the owners and stuff are going to start. They want to start to get it phased out a little bit more. But I also agree with you that I don't think it'll ever be entirely eliminated from the sport because it's just built into it. That's kind of what hockey is.
Yeah, I mean, here and there, you're going to see a fight. Someone's going to get on your nerves. It's going to happen. Yeah,
and I think, here's another good question. Do you think more people watch the NHL for the fighting than they lose for people who don't like the fighting? Does that make sense?
Can you rephrase that?
Yeah. So, do you think that more people will come and watch the NHL because of the fights over the amount of people that the NHL loses watching because of the fights because they don't like the fights?
No. I think there's still going to be packed crowds, whether there's fighting or not. It's just like any other sport. I do think the fighting may bring in more fans. Not much, but I think some fans are there to watch fights if they happen. But I think most of them are there to watch the game.
That's a good point. Yeah, I definitely have always thought about that, and I think more people are going to come to they're going to bring in more people for fighting than they're going to lose because of it. I don't think there's that many people that won't watch it just because of the fighting. And it's not that much. So it's an interesting thing though, because the NHL just started 2 days ago, and that was something they were talking about was kind of the number of fights and a lot of the goony players getting phased out of the league as well.
Yeah, getting replaced by star athletes.
By more skilled players, guys who can skate and play.
I mean, that's a good acquisition. I mean, you could either have your enforcer or you can have some young guy who is great at something or all-around balance.
Definitely.
It balances out, I guess.
And I think they're trying to make it so that these guys who were really just known for fighting, if you want to be one of the enforcers or physical players, you also have to be able to do the other things as well.
I mean, you're not going to just play to fight. You got to help your team win.
And that's what it was before.
Yeah.
There were some guys that were just there to fight.
Right.
They would play 3 or 4 minutes in the game and get in a fight or two.
I mean, yeah, I can see how they're getting eliminated in that perspective.
Yeah. And concussions, of course, are such a big thing these days. And I agree. I mean, head injuries are huge in any sport, and they really are trying to take care of them. And fights, a lot of times, can cause them.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's so much the punches. It's more guys will fall and hit their heads on the ice.
Yeah, rock hard.
That's hard. You're ready for the punches, but
right.
when you fall, you might not be quite ready for that ice.
Yeah, with someone landing on top of you, yeah.
Yeah. That's where I think a lot of them come from. Okay, so this is a good segue right into our NHL recap of the first couple games. We kind of had a preview last show on Tuesday, but we got our first games out of the way. It looks like every team has been able to play. Almost every team has been able to play at least once. The two remaining teams that haven't, the Carolina Hurricanes and New York Islanders, they're actually playing right now. The only game on today. So it's kind of weird. There was a packed schedule yesterday, Thursday night, and today we've got one game. And then all 30 teams play tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of interesting. That doesn't usually happen. Saturday is a big hockey night, though. But you'll usually see more games on Friday than one. But anyway, so it was a pretty jam-packed, big opening 2 days for the season. We talked about your Colorado Avalanche last week on the show, or not last week, but this week on Tuesday,
right,
during our preview show. Preview recap. I guess today is supposed to be the preview show, and Tuesday was the recap, but for NHL purposes, last week was preview. Anyways, Avalanche, they were looking good coming into the season, and they got stomped on.
Yeah, it didn't look like they were ready.
Yeah, by the Minnesota Wild, the team that actually knocked them out last year in the playoffs. We mentioned that. The Avalanche had the lead in that series and let it get away. Well, the Wild, they came in and, well, it was Colorado visiting Minnesota, and they won 5-0.
Yeah, poor performance.
Yeah, poor opening performance, and not something I expected to see from them offensively. I know their defense isn't the greatest; it's improved, but their offense is what they're built on. They got no goals.
Yeah, I mean, you expect a few.
Yeah, I mean, teams get shut out
all
the time in the NHL, but a 5-0 defeat, that's a tough way to start. I don't expect it to continue. I think they'll figure out. Maybe it's a good wake-up call, like, hey,
time to get your act together.
It's the season. So that was one of the more surprising games. Not necessarily that they lost because the Wild are a quality team, but that it was 5-0. We also talked about the Calgary Flames a little bit. My favorite team. They started off the season. They played back-to-back games to start the year. It's not unusual for teams to play back-to-back, but it's not also common. So, but they ended up playing back-to-back to start the year, and it was a good second game. They lost the first game. I believe it was 4-2. And then they won their second game against the Edmonton Oilers 5-2. And so a big win for them in Edmonton, the Battle of Alberta there. And so the Flames started off 1-1, and right now are the top scoring team in the NHL, and that's been one of our problems is scoring. Of course, most teams have played only one game, but we do have 7 goals in 2 games, so that's a good start. 1-1 record. Average. Yeah, lost to the Vancouver Canucks, so in game 1 at home. But, Mason Raymond had the hat trick last night against Edmonton. So one of the new acquisitions for the Flames got him from Toronto. So a big hat trick for him. I've heard that that's kind of what to expect, is that he'll have one really good game, and then you won't even notice him other games where he does pretty much nothing. So hopefully he'll do a little better than that for us. One of the other intriguing games of the night, 2 teams that don't often play, the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Anaheim Ducks. 2 teams that have been in the playoffs quite often over the last few years. 2 high-powered offenses. I think 2 of the best offenses in the NHL. I thought they would have made a hell of a Stanley Cup Finals last year. Obviously, Sidney Crosby is the guy that highlights both teams, but, arguably the number one player in the NHL. I think not arguably, but
yeah.
Crosby went head-to-head with one of the Duck Stars, and they are loaded at the top of that team on their first two lines offensively. He went head-to-head with Corey Perry, the right winger, and those two guys put up quite a night. Crosby had 2 goals and an assist, and Corey Perry had the hat trick, scoring 3 goals on his 5 shots. Final score ended up 6-4 for the Penguins.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that's something you need to expect for both of these teams, that they're both going to score goals, but they're going to give up some goals too. And I think that's been the one issue for the Penguins over the last few years, is that they get into the playoffs and they can't play good enough defense. Goal scoring will get you there, but in the end, you got to be able to keep teams off the board.
Right.
Good goaltending will win you series. Good defense will see it in any sport. The defense really becomes a bigger factor in the playoffs, and that's no exception for the NHL. And that's why they've been beat the last few years when they've looked really, really strong coming in. And it'll be an issue for the Ducks. They've got a really young defensive core group led by Cam Fowler, Sammy Vatanen, Hampus Lindholm. So it's gonna be tough sledding for these two teams in the playoffs, which I assume they will both make, but their offenses are gonna lead the way. And the Ducks are using a rookie goaltender from last year, and he came up last year, so I don't know if he's technically a rookie still. John Gibson. He might have not played enough games, or he may have last season. So I don't know if he still has the rookie tag on him. But that was a really good game. Crosby's obviously a star. I think Perry's getting his name out there a little more as a star of this league to an average NHL fan. Even though West Coast boys don't get as much hype, I guess, as the East Coast guys. So when people think of the top players in the NHL, they automatically go Crosby, Ovechkin. But I think Ovechkin's been passed up. Crosby's still number one, but I think there's a lot of players out there that are better than Ovechkin. The reigning Stanley Cup champions, well, they got shut out by the San Jose Sharks on home ice. That would have been like the Seahawks getting shut out on their home field opening night.
Yeah, you don't expect that.
You don't expect that, but for whatever reason, they came out really, really lacking in energy and got shut out 4-0. The Sharks just dominated them. And it was interesting. They did a lot of rematches of playoff series from last year. This was one of them, the one where the Kings came back down 0-3 and beat the Sharks. The Sharks got a little revenge, but it still doesn't probably feel good enough, honestly, just winning one game. And the final game I'm going to talk about, the Winnipeg Jets beat the Arizona Coyotes. They switched their name officially this year from Phoenix Coyotes to Arizona. Winnipeg Jets, who I picked as my surprise team. One game doesn't say everything, but they won 6-2. Tied for one of the top offensive putouts last night. Mm-hmm. A good all-around game. Blake Wheeler, who I think had a really breakout season last year that got unnoticed. He had 2 goals and an assist. Brian Little added 2 goals. Dustin Byfuglien, their big defenseman, had a goal. So all-around good game. It was against the Coyotes, who have been a fringe playoff team the last few years. So we'll have to see how they do against stiffer competition like the Blackhawks and the Blues, some of those division rivals that they're going to have to be playing down the road here. Okay, so that's our quick NHL. We've burned off about half of the show. We're going to take a quick break here and have our surprise guest make his entrance. So stay tuned with us. It'll be just a couple-minute break, and you're listening to The Pack here on woo.edu/kwoo. And we're back here on The Pack, and our special surprise guest we have with us, not actually in the station, calling over the phone, former host of the show, Ryne Buchanan. Ryne, how are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, man. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're just talking sports as always.
Same as always.
So,
That first few minutes sound good so far.
all right, thank you. Yeah, it's good to hear that. You know, sometimes it's a little sad without you, but we're carrying on. We're carrying on the banner.
I'm still a little nostalgic listening. All right.
All right, so we're moving on to some baseball. And as you guys both know, we've had quite a good playoff series so far this year. And we're going to start out with the American League Championship Series. The Royals and the Orioles. Wow, two teams that have... I think not a lot of people expected these two teams to be where they are right now.
No. That's for sure.
Especially if you asked at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the playoffs, I think some people might have said the Orioles, but the Royals, of course, total surprise team.
I didn't hear anybody even say the Royals were going to beat the A's.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, I heard more people think that they would make the World Series than the Orioles would. I didn't really hear a lot of Orioles talk there. To be honest, I thought the Tigers would beat them, but at bullpen.
Yeah. Yeah, the Orioles made quick work of the Tigers, and the Royals made quick work of the Angels and the A's.
About Baltimore, I never really felt like they were challenged by the Tigers.
No. And
There was never really a doubt. I mean, after the series started, because there was a doubt before, a lot of people, including myself, that the Tigers would win. After it started, there was never really a doubt Baltimore was going to take that.
yeah, and I think Baltimore is a team that never got any credit throughout the year for being that number one team out of the East.
They kind of flew under the radar.
They really did. Everyone was focused on that American League West, Tigers, definitely, and the wild card situation. But the Orioles kind of just took care of the East so fast.
How about the West? You got everybody's talking about,
Mm-hmm.
in baseball, and then they're come up flat.
Definitely.
I mean, the Angels, I don't think. Now, granted, there was a couple rainy games there against the Royals, but for the Royals to sweep, nobody saw that coming. Nobody even saw the Royals beat the A's. So for them to it was just out of nowhere. I'm shy not they're going to be here.
Yeah, and they've been just such a story. Some of those guys on that team that have been around for the last 4 or 5 years, and just they're having better playoffs than they did this entire season. And I'm speaking of like Eric Hosmer and Mike Moustakas specifically.
Where Hosmer picked up a bar tap after clinched.
No, I didn't. What?
That after they won their series against the Angels, a bunch of the Royals players went out to a local bar in Kansas City, and Hosmer picked up for everybody there that night with the fans.
Oh my God, that must have been expensive, but he didn't care at that point.
Oh yeah, I mean he's making lots of money, and that's kind of an old school thing. That's a lot in the old days.
Yeah.
I hear much more where they go to the same hangout, but yeah, Royals are an easy team to back, man. I hope to see them go far. They're a fun team to watch.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the nation is catching Royals fever, which for me is kind of like they've never been my number one team, but I followed them pretty much since Alex Gordon came up like 6 or 7 years ago. He came up as a third baseman, which I guarantee you, if you ask anyone, most people do not know that. He was supposed to be the next George Brett. And he came up, and then they sent him back down. They switched him to left field because they had Moustakas coming up later. And he's just been amazing as a left fielder. Great defensively, and he's just really come into his own. And, I've been following them since then. They got Billy Butler, of course, Eric Hosmer, Lorenzo Cain, Moustakas, Salvador Perez. They've made a few trades to get that pitching staff where it needs to be. And then their bullpen has just been fantastic.
Bullpen's been awesome, man. I don't think anybody really realized how good their bullpen was. I think you got to look at it when they trade, what's his name? Will Myers. They traded him, the young prospect, to the Rays. It was a big deal last year and didn't do a thing this year. And they got Wade Davis, the name. He's been their 8th inning guy. He's been light out. I set the record for most wins as a reliever for the Royals this year. Got a ERA just north of 1. I mean, he's just had an incredible year.
Oh my God, yeah.
Playoffs.
And Wade Davis was a starter when they got him.
For starter.
Yep. And he was a starter for the Rays.
One of those starters that never really got it together. He's a top prospect.
Yep.
After going to the bullpen. Much like the guy in Baltimore that we'll talk about, Britton, and all of a sudden gets the bullpen and he's lights out.
It is interesting the transformation that some players take, switching from either way, sometimes bullpen to starting.
Oh, yeah. Who you got in that series?
And we made our picks last week, or on Tuesday earlier this week, and I took the Royals to win in 7 games.
Yeah, 7.
I think they'll go definitely 6 or 7. I don't know who to take. I'm just going to take the Orioles. Their offense is just so...
It's very good.
Consistent. They're consistently getting 8 runs a game. That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Royals play more small ball. They don't score as much. Granted, they're scoring, but I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up. Both teams got a pretty... And the Royals have gagged the bullpen, but the Orioles have an undefeated bullpen. Great acquisition to get Andrew Miller from the Red Sox to go with the top.
Yeah.
And then Britt mentioned closing for them, and then Tommy Hunter's been pretty good. Orioles got a shaky rotation, but with the way their offense has been playing, it hasn't really mattered. And, Royals' rotation has been solid, but I got it Orioles in 7. I just think they're going to take it, but I would not be surprised if the Royals win.
Yeah, and that's why I'm taking this one to go long, because if the two teams have played different length of series, then I could see it just being a short series like it happens most years where a team plays the full length and the other team plays the short one. But they both won in 3 games. They were both done the same day. They both had the same amount of rest, so I don't think that's going to be any factor. Momentum is it's kind of starting over in this series.
So maybe the Royals have a little bit of an edge just because they've played more close games.
Mm-hmm.
The Orioles haven't really been challenged, so they kind of, I don't know if they've been woken up yet.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, the Royals seem to be unable to lose when the calendar turned over to October.
I know. Tell me about it. So right now the Royals and Orioles are in Game 1 of this dramatic AL Championship Series, and it's just went to the bottom of the 2nd inning, and it is 0-0 tied. So I could see this.
The Royals, the lower the score is, the better for the Royals.
Oh, absolutely, because they've got the bullpen at the end that can shut it down.
Oh, yeah. Royals, great. I got to say that out.
Oh, my.
Incredible. When you got bored, some of the plays they made, those unbelievable.
Yeah, I just, it's been one of the best defensive outfields for a couple years, and they're really getting the notice now, especially Lorenzo Cain and some of the catches he's made.
But he saved a couple runs in the same inning.
Oh, yeah.
On different plays, and one of those guys was the Clinton getting against the Angels. Just wow.
Yeah. That was in that 3rd game, I think. I remember he did it in the same inning. He made just back-to-back catches that were just...
Yeah, the first one was just incredible.
Yeah.
And Aoki made a couple catches out there in right field as well. It just, and not to mention Alex Gordon, the Gold Glove winner.
Yeah, Alex Gordon hasn't even really been tested quite as much as those other 2 guys.
Yeah, I mean, that team is, they're easy to get behind.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got Orioles in 7. I've got Royals in 7. And I think... Gunther, you had...
I got Orioles in 5.
Yeah, Gunther had Orioles in 5. And then Kellen was on the opposite side of that with Royals in 5. So we're all over the map here. I think that just shows that no one can really figure out who's going to win this series. There's no obvious favorite, in my opinion.
No, I would not be surprised either way if those.
And one of these teams could just get hot and just sweep them. It could happen.
Yeah, they could.
So, all right. So that's our American League. Let's move on quickly here to the National League. And so the St. Louis Cardinals, they had won their final game on Tuesday. They beat the Dodgers in 4 games, so slightly longer than the American League. And They got to Clayton Kershaw when it mattered. Matt Adams with the big 3-run home run in the 7th inning. I'm sure you were crying.
Killer.
No World Series for you. Brian had a chance to go if the Dodgers make it, so he roots every year. He hopes.
Especially after, what was it, Game 3 that they beat back with Kemp, the go-ahead shot.
That was Game 2 when we were watching that one.
Yeah, it seemed like they were really going to get it, and then they played really close in Game 3, and then you thought with Kershaw, he'd been pitching great. In Game 1, he was horrible, but Game 4, when he pitched, he was doing great, right?
He was.
Adams, and then
all it takes is one hit. Kellen kept reminding me that in the playoffs. 2-run lead. And all
the shot there at the end.
Yeah. And so the Cardinals went on to finish that game. The bullpen closed it out. Shelby Miller's good start kind of gets lost in there, but I thought he pitched pretty well for his first one in the playoffs.
I got the majority of the credit for that, but Shelby Miller did a really good job.
Oh, yeah. So the Giants then, they did kind of the same thing with the Washington Nationals. They won in 4 games as well. They had the 2-0 advantage, though, going into Game 3. They lost Game 3 with Madison Bumgarner. I think a lot of people thought they were going to win Game 3 with him on the mound. And then Game 4, it was... Who pitched Game 4? Was it Peavy again? Or no, they used a Vogelsong, wasn't it? Yeah. Old man got him the win in Game 4. And they moved on to the National League Championship Series to take on the Cardinals, 2 teams that are very familiar with each other.
Yeah.
I think to a tiresome amount for some people.
Oh, yeah. A lot of fans are kind of sick of seeing this NLCS back up
you specifically.
all the time, but I'm definitely going for the AL in the World Series, no matter who it is on the other side. But you can't deny that these are the best 2 teams of the last few years. Now, this year, I didn't think the Giants were that good at all, so it feels a little weird for them to be in the NLCS.
Yeah.
Because, they were kind of ho-hum the regular season. They were really good to start, and they just kind of plateaued and didn't really do much. They weren't overwhelming, but Bumgarner's fantastic. They got into the playoffs, and the offense has come alive, and yeah, I don't know. It feels weird for them to be in there because it doesn't really feel like they should be, but, you can't say they didn't earn it. They go into a hostile environment in Pittsburgh. They beat them convincingly, 8-0. And they, the Nationals coming down September, they were the hottest team in baseball. They were almost unstoppable down the stretch. And then they just didn't even really show up for this series. The Giants just destroyed them.
Yeah, they only had it was about pretty much Bryce Harper and Anthony Rendon that did anything.
Bryce Harper, but no one else did anything.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper got home runs. He looked pretty good, but
he did.
He couldn't do it by himself.
And he was the one player who probably didn't look very good for them most of the year.
Exactly. So finally he catches up, and now nobody else shows up. So
that's baseball, though.
I have no idea what to expect in this series either.
And I really don't even want to pick this series because the Giants have had the Cardinals' number over the last few years in playoff series.
Thing going for them. That's in their favor. Every other year they win the World Series. I don't know what to think of this, but I guess I'll go Cardinals, I guess. I'll go Cardinals in 5.
Wow, you think 5 games?
Yeah, and my reasoning for this is that there's always one series, historically the last few years, when you get to the championship series, there's one that goes 6 or 7, there's one that goes 4 or 5. And typically, the one that goes 6 or 7 has a lot of thrilling games, and that goes on to get...
And they're the ones who go on to end up winning.
They got all the momentum, even though we'll make a big deal that, they're not rested. Rested has really helped Kansas City because that's allowed them to just continue their great run here.
I think rest is overrated in baseball.
Oh, yeah. I think it actually hurts.
I think it does, too. You play every day for about 5 months. And
basketball, you're playing a lot more games in the playoffs. They actually get a ton more off days in the playoffs for baseball.
Yeah. This
is slow for them.
It is. They get a day off between almost every game. You play 2 games and then a day off.
But yes, I don't buy the whole rest thing. I think it actually hurts the team. So yeah, I'll go Cardinals. I'm not confident about it just because I didn't really expect any of those teams. By the way, in my right before the playoffs came out, I made predictions on Facebook. I got every single round wrong.
Yep, and I made that comment too. You picked every single,
and I got everything wrong,
including the wild card games. Yeah.
Yep. So I bet it will now be Giants in 7 and 4 if my predictions hold up.
And then the Giants will win the World Series as the hot team. Yeah, that's how it's been going this season. I'm going to take Cardinals as well. I think it's going to be another long series though. I don't know if I want to say 6 or 7, but I see it as being 6 or more. I'll take it in 7 though, actually. So I'm going to say 2 7-game series, which would be pretty cool. Teams would be coming into the World Series on level playing field, but yeah, you're probably right. 1-1 early.
Bumgarner 3 games. That rotation's pretty weak.
Yeah.
7, you got to start Bumgarner.
Oh yeah, they would. And Bumgarner versus Wainwright. How's that for a game 1?
Pretty good. Doesn't have the same ring as Kershaw Wainwright. I hope that win.
Yeah. Bumgarner doesn't get as much recognition, but he's been a really good pitcher the last 3-4 years, and he's pitched in 2 World Series.
This year? What, do you have 18 wins this year?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, everybody kind of got overshadowed because of what Clayton Kershaw did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 18 and 10 for Bumgarner. Wainwright, 20 and 9.
Yeah.
Both sub-3 ERAs. These are 2 obvious aces.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think that'll be a good series from a baseball standpoint. From my rooting interest, I'm sick in those teams, so we'll see. I'm excited about this Baltimore series, though.
Yep. And right now, the Orioles are threatening with 2 men on and 1 out against big game James Shields.
Yeah, big game James hasn't exactly been great.
He really hasn't, actually. They've won both of his games, but
pulled him out every time, so he hasn't really been exposed. He hasn't been really big game James.
No.
But that's what happens when you got a great bullpen and a clutch offense that can come up big.
Great defense.
Great defense, yeah.
Their speed, I mean, they do a lot of different things, so.
Oh, yeah. Either way, we're going to have a World Series matchup of old guard versus new guard.
Definitely.
In terms of we're going to have a new team that we haven't seen in years from the AL, and then we've seen a lot from the NL, so it's going to be interesting either way. This should be a couple fun league championship series.
Yep. Well, Ryne, thank you very much for calling in. It's been a pleasure talking with you again on the Pack.
Yeah, no problem. And I want to hear what you guys have to say about some football. I got real quick. I don't know if you're going to talk college football at all, but I just got to say, go Wolves this weekend and go Ducks. Ducks need to win this weekend against UCLA.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge game for them.
Yeah, that's a statement game.
Yeah, especially UCLA. Didn't they just lose, too?
They just lost to Utah, so whoever loses this game is officially pretty much out of the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
And go Wolves, too. They need to bounce back win against Texas State.
Yeah, after the big North Alabama loss. That was just a game I don't think anyone expected them to win, but we've already talked about that. Yeah, so you're welcome to, if you want to submit your NFL picks to us on the Facebook page, you know where that's at.
Oh, you made the page.
You should remember where it is.
Yeah. All right, yeah, I'll put in my pick.
Okay.
You're pretty good at that if I do remember correctly.
Yeah, you were pretty good. You had
a bit of a star at that.
I think you're a little better at NFL than baseball picks, though.
I am, which is funny because I know baseball a lot better.
Maybe you overthink it too much.
I think the rest of the show.
You too. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. That was Ryne Buchanan. Good to hear his voice on the show, and I
definitely.
Yep. I made a comment about we were gonna put the old episodes onto our new home of our podcasts onto YouTube. So I'm gonna see if I can get some of those old shows from Ryne. I've got a few of them myself. We could put them on YouTube. So if anyone wants to reminisce, hear some of our old shows. Obviously, it won't be up to date, anything what we're saying, but it'd be nice to hear some old episodes. So remember, you can subscribe to us on YouTube if you want to listen. It's actually something we've been working on, is trying to find a place to podcast consistently, and SoundCloud has worked all right, but you only get 2 or 3 hours that can be on there at any one time, so that's usually 1 or 2 episodes at most. I've checked some other podcasting sites, but I figured out a way to get YouTube working, so check it out. You can find our link on the Facebook page under information, or every time we put out a podcast, the link will be there for you. So please subscribe to us. We would like people to listen more. All right, let's get to the NFL. We had the big Thursday night football game, which finally turned out to be a good one. We've been waiting for a good game. Colts and Texans.
Competition finally.
Did you watch that game more?
Yeah, I caught most of that game.
See, I didn't even get to watch any. So what did you see from that?
J.J. Watt is definitely in the race for MVP.
You don't see that from defensive players often.
He has more touchdowns than Calvin Johnson and LaShawn McCoy combined.
How many touchdowns does he have?
Well,
I know he had a
3 for 3.
Wow.
He has 3, and the other 2 have 3.
Wow. That's really something.
Yeah, he's just a freak. He had pass deflections. He had a fumble recovery, touchdown, tackles. He does it all.
He's like unblockable.
Yeah.
Did they not put 2 guys on him all game?
Not all game.
Yeah.
But you can see it when they do most of the time.
You have to have the running back at least going over there to try and chip him in the passing game.
Still didn't get the win.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck pulled it off. Couple costly turnovers in the end, and I will put that on Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick's been kind of known to throw some interceptions.
Yeah, he fumbled on their last drive, turned it over, and it was game after that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Texans are... They're kind of like the Chiefs from a few years ago when they were the worst team in the NFL record-wise.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like the Texans really should have been the worst team in football last year.
No. Their record showed it, but...
Their record, yeah. But just the way they played in some of those games, it was just kind of a weird year for them. All the quarterback issues.
Yeah.
Matt Schaub went from being a playoff quarterback to just almost
bottom
nothing.
of the barrel, yeah.
He lost a lot of fans in that one season.
Yeah, he folded. I mean, once he threw a couple picks, and that was it.
Yeah. So that was definitely a close game. I think the Texans have a chance to be a wild card team. We still have the Colts as the division winner. I think a game in Houston, the Colts win it. That's definitely a statement game for them.
Yeah.
To prove that they're the best team in the division. Titans and Jaguars aren't going to catch them, but Texans could be a fringe wild card playoff team. So we'll find out how the rest of their season goes. But all right, we've got some picks here. We don't have Kellen's picks yet. We'll put those up on the Facebook page along with ours after the show. He had, like I said, some homework to do, so we weren't able to get his picks in from him. So we're going to start with New England and Buffalo. New England has had the great week last week, but Buffalo's been one of the surprises of the NFL this year.
Yeah, you want to start it off?
No, you can do it.
This one's tough. Buffalo has proven they're a much stronger team now, and they're both in the same division. I think I'm going to take New England this week. They're going to get a couple wins in a row, secure their spot in the division.
Yeah, this is a tough one. It's in Buffalo. So that makes me have to think about it a little bit. I don't think I would question taking the Patriots in New England. But Buffalo's played pretty well against the Pats the last few years.
Yeah.
I'll take New England as well. I think they're going to start turning it around. And a big division game right here. They lost to Miami already earlier in the season. Right?
Buffalo?
New England. Did New England lose to week 1?
To Miami?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Man. But anyways, I'll take New England. All right, Carolina at Cincinnati. Non-conference opponents. Two kind of ones that I think they're both good, but I'm not sure about them. They can play good.
I'm going to go with Carolina. They got a little momentum after the win over the Bears last week. And I think they're going to pull it off against Cincy after losing to New England badly.
Yeah. I think... So, wait, you had...
Carolina.
Okay,
Yeah.
In Cincinnati. All right. I'm going to take Cincinnati. I mean, people were picking them as the number one team in the NFL before that New England loss. I don't think that they are, but I also think there's a reason that they were getting picked for that. So I'll take Cincinnati at home. I'm not sold on Carolina, but I could see it going either way also.
Right.
All right. Division matchup. Big one. I'm being kind of sarcastic, but it's actually a pretty big game for these two teams. Pittsburgh Steelers at Cleveland Browns.
I think the Browns got momentum to take this one. And they're home.
Yep. The Browns have been pretty good.
Yeah.
And I don't think Pittsburgh's played very well this year. I don't know. They might come out to play this game. Didn't they play already once this season, though?
They did.
Wow, they're already playing both games within the first 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is really crazy. And I should mention, Kellen just sent in his picks to me. So I'll have to give those as well. New England Buffalo, he had Buffalo. And Carolina Cincinnati, he has Carolina. So, little different. He's opposite of me on both of those. Buffalo, Carolina. And Ryan actually even texted me and said he's got New England for that first game. All right, so Cleveland, Pittsburgh. I like Cleveland as well. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a tough one, but at home, and I think Pittsburgh's just been, I don't know, they have not impressed me whatsoever, and Cleveland has for expectations, and they barely got out of Pittsburgh last time with the victory. So, okay, here's the big matchup for me: Green Bay at Miami. It's gonna be hot.
Definitely Green Bay.
It's gonna be hot though. I think
that's a no-brainer for me. Aaron Rodgers is hot. He's got his two receivers. Eddie Lacy's picking up the running game, and the defense has been playing great.
Yeah, and I don't think Miami. I think Miami is decent, but they're not gonna stand a chance. But it's good. I think the temperature is gonna be the biggest factor for the Packers because they're not used to playing in 90-degree weather. I think it's supposed to be very, very hot there tomorrow.
Right.
So we'll find out how they hold up. I think they're going to need to be able to run the ball early, open up some passing lanes for Aaron Rodgers. Defense needs to be stout. All right. Detroit at Minnesota. Oh, and Kellen also had Green Bay.
There's a lot of toss-up games this week. I'm going to say the Lions.
Yeah, and they came off a really bad game against Buffalo.
I mean, I don't think this will be a shootout or anything, but
yeah, I'll take Detroit as well. I think Minnesota's this isn't going to be a good year again for them.
No.
But Teddy Bridgewater, I believe, is playing, so maybe they'll have something to build off of for this game. And I don't think Kellen gave this game. I don't see Detroit or Minnesota. Actually, he picked Detroit. All right, so we're all consensus taking Detroit. Denver at the New York Jets.
Denver.
Yeah, that's all he's going to say. There's no explanation there.
No need.
No need for an explanation. I mentioned last week I thought the Jets had one of the poorest performances. They've been bad all year. Other than a first half game against the Packers, I don't think they beat the Raiders 19-14. They've lost to that whole NFC North pretty much.
I think this week Manning's also going to tie Favre's record.
He's going to tie it, not break it?
Go on record and say he's going to tie it.
Okay.
So he's got to get 6 to break it.
He's got to get 6 to break it?
Yes.
Oh, he's 5 behind him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you think he's throwing 5? Oh, dang.
Yeah.
I thought he was like 3 behind him.
No.
Oh, dang. All right. I think he'll tie it and break it next week. I don't think the Jets' defense is that bad. I think it's their offense that just costs them. But if they can't hold the ball at all, then
I mean, last week they got 31 points and scored 0.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And actually, here's an update real quick on the Royals-Orioles. And it was Alcides Escobar with another clutch home run for the Royals. Solo home run, so they lead 1-0. Okay, I've got Denver as well. Kellen's got Denver. Moving on. Baltimore Ravens. I was thinking Orioles. At the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Another one more difficult to pick. I think the Ravens are going to go into Tampa Bay and get a W.
Didn't have the voice FX on, so we haven't been recording anything for the last few moments, last 10 minutes. So we'd actually gone through like our first 6 or 7 picks here for NFL, giving some good insight onto the games that didn't even get recorded. All right, so that sounds great. We'll go through our picks real quickly here. We had starting off New England and Buffalo.
I got New England.
Yep, and I had New England as well. They came off a big win against the Cincinnati Bengals, but it's in Buffalo, so I think Buffalo's played pretty well this season. 3-2 on top of that division. The Patriots are 2-2, or are they 3-2 as well? I don't remember if they had a bye.
No, I don't think they've had a bye yet.
Okay. And so we both took New England, and Kellen sent in his picks. He's got the Buffalo Bills. So I would say it's an upset still.
Yeah.
Bills have played well against the Patriots though in the past, especially at home. So I could see it happening. I struggled with it a little bit because it was in Buffalo. All right, Carolina at Cincinnati.
I'm going to take Carolina.
Yeah.
Get a little momentum going with them.
Mm-hmm. And they just won that game against the Bears.
Yeah.
Solid victory for them. And I took the Bengals, but I'm not sold on either of these teams. Bengals played one bad game, but they've played a couple other good ones. They're 3-1, and they were once earlier picked as the number 1 team in the NFL, which I didn't think was realistic and would change by the end of the season. But even within a few weeks, I don't think anyone's picking them number 1 anymore.
No, definitely not.
No. But Carolina, I don't know. Cam Newton, he hasn't really impressed me so far this season. Their defense is still solid, but I think it's going to be a battle between 2 really good defenses and quarterbacks who can make mistakes. So,
yeah.
But I'm taking the Bengals. Kellen's got Carolina. There's also something I wanted to implement in for this week. So what I want to do is pick your 1 guarantee of the week.
Okay.
And if you get your guarantee right, it's worth 2 wins.
Okay.
All right, so up your record by 1. So
right.
I'll have to pass that message on to Kellen. 1 guarantee of the week. Okay, here's another thing. You can only pick 1 team. You only pick a team once for the whole season as your guarantee. So you can't just pick the Broncos every week.
That'd be a guarantee every week.
That would be a guarantee every week, obviously, because they're going to win the rest of their games. You only pick them once. The rest for the entire season. So if you think this is their easiest game, go for it. But makes you think a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Think about the matchups. So next up, we've got Pittsburgh at Cleveland. And Gunther?
Going to Cleveland at home.
And I took Cleveland as well. I thought about it. Pittsburgh hasn't impressed me. Cleveland's been on the total opposite side. I think Brian Hoyer's played really well. And I think they were expected to not do well because of the suspension to
Gordon.
Yeah, Josh Gordon, their big receiver. But the offense has looked pretty well.
Yeah.
Pretty strong so far. Kellen's taking Pittsburgh. I could see this one going either way as well. All right, Green Bay at Miami.
Green Bay, Packers are looking good.
Yeah, Packers have looked good the last couple weeks.
And that's going to be my guarantee.
Okay, so Gunther's taking his guarantee as the Packers. I'm not going to use my guarantee on the Packers yet. Kellen's also got Green Bay. I'll put a small G next to them for Gunther. Okay. Detroit Lions at Minnesota Vikings.
Both teams a little inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
Vikings not very good at all. I'm taking Detroit for this one.
Yeah, I've got Detroit as well, and I think inconsistency has been the name of the game for the Lions the last 5 years. Got a lot of talent. They just end up losing to some teams they should win, or games that they're leading that they should win. And it hasn't been penalties this year. It's just been inconsistency. But I've got Detroit as well. Kellen's also got Detroit. I think Minnesota they're just too much of a mess right now. Even with Teddy Bridgewater starting this game, I think that Lions front four is going to be really tough against him.
Yeah.
Okay. Denver Broncos at New York Jets. So you're not taking this as your guarantee.
No, but Denver's winning.
But Denver's going to win. I will also take Denver, and Kellen's got Denver. I don't think we need to explain. I think the Jets have been one of the really bad teams this year. I think a lot of people expected them to be better, but I think they're not looking good. Okay. Baltimore, this is where we left off before I realized we weren't even on the air.
Yeah.
Baltimore and Tampa Bay.
I like Baltimore. Both teams average in the league.
Yeah, I think Baltimore's a little bit better. Tampa Bay, I don't know. I see potential with Tampa Bay still, but they got off to such a rough start. I think they're going to be...
Definitely.
They're going to be looked at that same kind of level the rest of the year just because of the bad start. But I think they could be better. I could see them winning this game. It wouldn't totally surprise me, but I will still take the Ravens. Kellen also has the Ravens. Ravens don't impress me, though. I really think they get lucky a lot. Flacco just throws it up there.
50 times a game.
Yeah. He'll get some big touchdowns because he's got good receivers on the outside. The two Smiths. The Smith brothers. That'd be cool if they were brothers, but I don't believe there's any.
No.
Any blood running through those veins. Okay. Jacksonville at Tennessee.
This is the week Jacksonville gets their first win.
Taking Jacksonville. All right. I like that. I took Jacksonville last week against Pittsburgh.
And that didn't pan out.
It didn't. They were pretty close. Only lost by 8 points. Their offense didn't do anything. It was in Jacksonville, though, last week, I think.
Yeah.
I'll take Tennessee, but this would be the week they would do it. That's frustrating. Oh, and just for that, Kellen is also taking Jacksonville. So this would be the week, the one week I refuse to take them. Yeah, Tennessee's a very average, below average team.
Yeah.
Just nothing about them impresses me. Okay. San Diego at Oakland.
I think this is a trap game.
Yeah.
I'm still going to take the Chargers.
Yeah. I thought about it. I was like, this could be a good guarantee, but again, it feels like kind of a trap.
Yeah.
Going to Oakland, you're like, oh, we got this in the bag. They've played great all year. I think they could finally slip up a little bit. I still think they'd probably come out with the win just because Oakland is that bad right now. Okay, Washington at Arizona.
After seeing how the Redskins did on Monday night, I think this will be a pretty close game. I think the Cardinals will bounce back after last week's loss and get the W.
Yeah, and I will also take Arizona. I think they were just playing a very tough team last week, and
I think Carson Palmer will be back this week. I'm not sure.
Don't quote you on it, all right. And Kellen has also got Arizona. So, consensus pick there. The Cardinals. Good team so far this year.
Yeah.
Chicago Bears, Atlanta Falcons.
I see this being a game like last week's where it's even up to the fourth quarter. I want to take the Falcons at home, though.
I don't trust either of these teams. They keep blowing late leads.
Yeah.
They look like they're the better team one half and then just collapse the next. I think the Bears are actually a little bit better. But the Falcons are at home, and I think they're better at home. It's in a dome. If it was in Chicago outside, it might be a little different, but I'm leaning towards Atlanta. I'll take them. Not confident with this pick at all, though. I'm not confident with most of my picks, if you haven't noticed. And Kellen's taking Chicago, so. Okay, Dallas at Seattle.
This is the weekly matchup I'm waiting to watch.
You think the Cowboys can beat that Seahawks defense?
I think they have a really good chance. I mean,
they have the running game.
Yeah.
Tony Romo don't make mistakes.
I think he's going to have to mix it up and throw to Williams and Witten.
Mm-hmm.
And their defense is going to have to play great.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to take the Cowboys.
Wow. Taking the Cowboys in Seattle.
Seattle.
I'm not that daring. I'll still stick with Seattle. Probably won't even need to look at Kellen's, but yeah, he's taking Seattle as well. Yeah, I don't know. I just, I'm not going to bet against Seattle at home yet.
Makes sense.
Yeah. They beat the Packers and the Broncos already at home, so I don't see any reason why the Cowboys would have more success, but we'll find out. Sunday Night Football, New York Football Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles.
This is the time for the Giants to get some recognition on a primetime stage. I think they're going to get a win against the Eagles.
That's a good pick, actually. I like that pick.
They're on a 3-game winning streak.
Yeah, they've been, I mean, a lot of people counted them out early, but they've been pretty good. They win this game, they're looking pretty good for the rest of the year with a win in Philadelphia. I'm still going to take the Eagles just because they're home, but yeah, again, they've been just a disappointing team in my opinion for being 4-1. But I also think the fact that they're 4-1 still and they haven't even played good, you could see a bit better from them the rest of the year, and you might watch out.
They need a running game.
They do, and it's because they can't block. I don't think it's really LaShawn McCoy's fault.
No, you can see Nick Foles getting hit.
Yep.
No 100-yard rush games.
Yep, their offensive line is just really in trouble. So, Kellen has got Philadelphia. All right. So Gunther's alone on that one. Last couple ones you've been on your own. Final game Monday Night Football, San Francisco 49ers, St. Louis Rams.
The Niners.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just don't really feel confident picking the Rams right now. But Kellen does. He's got the Rams. They had a good end of that game against the Eagles. So, and they're at home. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see the 49ers lose.
Yeah.
But I'm still taking San Francisco. I didn't make a guarantee. I got to backtrack because I wasn't sure really who I wanted. I've been thinking about this whole time. I'm going to take the Broncos as my guarantee this week against the Jets.
Okay.
On the road, but I think this is the only other better matchups they're going to get this season are against the Raiders, but I guess I'll just have to miss out on one of those games. I think the Jets are that bad, and none of the other games this week really
looked that one-sided.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think the Packers will win, but I think the Dolphins are better than the Jets.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going with Denver with my guarantee. I thought about Seattle, but Dallas could do something. I even thought about Arizona against Washington or San Diego against Oakland. But again, trap games. It's just about mentality sometimes. Yeah. So
you never know each week.
Yeah. I don't think Denver's going to slip up against the Jets, though.
No.
I think there's like a 0.5% chance of that happening.
Yeah.
So pretty confident in taking them. We'll get Kellen's guarantee. And actually, if you miss your guarantee, though, you lose 2. So it takes off one of your wins. And if you get it, it takes off one of your
Make or
losses.
break then, yeah.
It is. It's a big deal. So you want to make sure your guarantee follows through. All right, so we had a wonderful show tonight. Thank you all for listening. Sorry about the weird delay. If you stopped listening because you just thought we were done, well, you can listen to the podcast, which I'll be putting up pretty soon. We had a great show, Western Oregon Athletics, some NHL talk. Special guest Ryne Buchanan, thanks again for coming on the show. It's a pleasure having you on again, and maybe we'll get you in the studio sometime here soon. That would be a lot of fun. So we talk about baseball with him and then our NFL picks. Again, if anyone wants to challenge us with our NFL picks and see if you can do better, you might win a special prize. Last time I said $5, but no one took me up on it, so
I'll throw in 5.
Gunther's going to throw in 5.
Now you got 10.
All right. So if you can beat our picks, Gunther and I are both going to pay you. But you have to beat both of us. If you only beat one, you get nothing. But you have to beat both of us. And actually, you have to beat Kellen, too. So he's part of this as well. All right, so for Gunther Bird, for the absent Kellen Hughes, and for our special guest Ryne Buchanan, I'm Iain Dexter signing off. You have been listening to The Pack on woo.edu/kwoo. Good night, everybody.